today on Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas, we're gonna make some delicious stuffed shells. So I hope you stay tuned. I'm Doug, let's get cooking. So welcome back to Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas. So we're gonna talk about the ingredients you're going to need to make our delicious stuffed shells. So the first thing you're gonna need is some jumbo shells. This is a Good and Gather product. You can use any product you'd like, but you need jumbo shells. Then we're going to need 15-ounce container of ricotta. You're going to need some spinach, where this is some organic spinach, baby spinach here. So I'm gonna use this whole box because this really cooks down, so it won't be as much as what you think. You're gonna need 2 eggs. You're going to need some fresh, where am I getting this accent from? Fresh mozzarella, or mozzarella, however you want to say it, cheese. So get yourself some fresh mozzarella cheese, but we are also going to use this mozzarella and Parmesan fine cut in a bag. It's always best to use the fresh stuff, the real stuff, but we're also going to use that too. That's how I do it. We're going to need 1.5 cups of onions that have been chopped very small, very fine. We're gonna be cooking those up. And mushrooms. So 1 container of mushrooms, and I chopped up my mushrooms super small. So we're gonna cook this up in a little extra virgin olive oil and garlic. And then you're going to need approximately, I'd say that's about 1/2 cup of Italian parsley. And of course, minced garlic. You're gonna need some garlic. And I believe that is it. So let's get cooking. Welcome back to Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas. So we're gonna start cooking up our delicious ingredients, our filling for our delicious stuffed shells. So let's take a look. Okay, so a couple of things we're doing here. I'm heating up my pans really quick. This one is gonna be for our mushrooms. We're gonna cook that up separately. And then we're gonna actually add it to this mixture, which is going to consist of the onions and the ricotta and the cheeses and all that delicious yummy stuff. So, but back here we have our sauce, and one day I'll do a special segment on my delicious Italian homemade sauce. It's so yummy, but I let that cook for a long time at a very low heat. So make sure that you have whatever sauce you like to use. If you like to make your own, even if you buy store-bought sauce, that would be okay. All right, so this is pretty much warmed up, and I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil to both pans. Pretty much like just enough to cover the bottom. So I usually like to do it. You wanna heat that up just a little bit. Okay. And then we're gonna have some minced garlic. I'm using 1 tablespoon over here. And then I'm gonna add probably 1/2 tablespoon over here. All right? So if you don't feel comfortable cooking 2 things at once, you don't have to. I'm just doing it because of time and making it go a little bit faster. So I'm gonna let this garlic just cook up just a little bit. Increase my flame just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. All right, really easy so far, nothing hard. All right. Now what I did with my mushrooms, if you can see here, I really chopped them up small. These are just portobello mushrooms, and I chopped them up very small, very fine. They're gonna go into this pan over here, and we're just gonna cook these up for probably about not even 5 minutes or so. Now it seems like a lot, but like I said, this will cook down. So it won't be as much as what you think. Stir that up a little bit. Now over here, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's kind of, you can see that garlic is cooking up nicely. So what I'm going to do is add my onions. Remember, this is around 1.5 cups of white onions that have been chopped up fine. Stir that around. Now the garlic to this dish is very important. So make sure that you put garlic in both the mushrooms and the onions. So we're gonna cook up the onions probably around 5 minutes, just until it's tender. We'll be back. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. So I have my onions. They have been cooking for around 5 minutes. They're nice, they're getting nice and soft, so that is good. And my mushrooms here, they're looking really good too. And I'm just gonna give that a nice little stir. Now what I wanna do with my mushrooms is I'm gonna add some pepper separately. We are gonna add salt and pepper to this, but I wanna pepper my mushrooms separately. I just love pepper, so it's gonna be really good. All right, I'm gonna lower this a little bit, turn off my mushrooms, and what I wanna do is, you can see there's a lot of liquid in these mushrooms, and I'm gonna drain out that liquid. Okay, so now what I wanna do in my pan with my onions, I'm gonna get my spinach, and this spinach has been washed thoroughly. I'm just gonna place my spinach in here. And like I said, this may seem a lot, but it will cook down. All right. So I'm giving my spinach a toss in the onions. Okay, we're gonna cover it. We're gonna let it cook. Oh, a little beef fell out. We're gonna let it cook for around, probably until I see it's wilting or getting smaller in size, so maybe around 5 minutes or so. Okay. Let me add the cover. And we'll cook it for around 5 minutes. Okay, so you can see this is cooked down. Look how much that's cooked down, see that? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to now turn off the flame, and I'm gonna add my 2 eggs. I'm gonna add in my fresh mozzarella cheese. Add in my 15-ounce ricotta cheese. We're gonna stir that all together. Let's break that cheese up. Now the reason why we turned off the heat is because we're gonna be baking this in the oven for 45 minutes at 350 degrees. And I wanna make sure this is nice and mixed. These have been drained, like I said. What's the matter, Simon? You hungry? And then I'm going to use some of that cheese. I'm not going to use all of it because I want to save some for the topping. So I'd probably save about that much. And we're mixing all that. Turn off my sauce. My sauce has been cooking for a while. And like I said, one day we'll have a special segment on how I make my sauce. All right. This looks good. All right, so now let's stuff our shells. Okay, so one thing, after you kind of stir it all together in the pan, you want to add that Italian parsley to it. Remember that was about a cup of Italian parsley. Mix that in with it. Looks so yummy. Oh. All right, now let's start stuffing our shells. One thing, make sure that you season your mixture with some freshly ground black pepper. Very important. Mix that in there. And I like to use some sea salt. Okay, how much? Just kind of do it enough to fill the top. Not fill the top, but kind of just sprinkle it in there. Probably you're using maybe a teaspoon of sea salt. You could always add more salt later if you feel like you need it. All right. Okay, so as you can see, I have some of my shells here, and you always want to try to get the prettier ones. So try to get your prettiest shells you can out of the batch, and you're just gonna stuff them. Okay. Make sure it's nicely filled, just like that. And before I start putting them in my baking dish here, I want to make sure that I get my sauce, and I'm gonna put a layer of my sauce in the pan here. Okay. And you want to definitely preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then you just place your stuffed shells in the baking dish that have been already cooked. Just put it like that. Look yummy. And as you can see, we got a lot of filling here, so we're definitely gonna have enough to make these yummy stuffed shells. All right, so I'm gonna continue filling my stuffed shells, and we'll be back. Okay, so we actually have two dishes here, as you can see, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the remaining sauce, and I'm just going to kind of drizzle it over it. Okay. Make sure I get this side. This sheet, I kind of put the shells that maybe didn't turn out so well when it got cooked. Maybe broke a little bit, so those are the ones in this pan are the nicer shells. But it all tastes the same. One thing, we want to cover it, make sure, almost forgot to tell you, very important, make sure it gets covered with aluminum foil. And then you'll bake it, like I said, 45 minutes, 350 degrees. Take it out, remove the foil, add the cheese, put it in there for another 10 minutes or so. All right, my oven is preheated. Let's start baking it. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. Gonna take my foil off, looking at my delicious, oh, they look so good. And so now I got the rest of my cheese here, and I'm going to just sprinkle it on top. Make sure every single one gets covered. And we're going to continue baking this for another 10 minutes or so, just until pretty much the cheese is all melted. And I'm just gonna add just a little bit of water, a little bit of water to the bottom, especially on this one. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put this back in the oven for about 10 more minutes. Well, there they are, the delicious stuffed shells. I cannot wait to take a bite. So now let's have a good taste test. Okay, so I'm going to sprinkle some fresh Parmesan cheese on it. And oh my gosh, look how great that looks. Looks fantastic. Alright, so there you go. I have a taste test. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, now that's good. Oh, so good. That's awesome. All right, hopefully you enjoyed Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas today. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and like this video and leave a comment below. If you try any of these recipes, please let me know how it works out for you. I would love to know. Anyway, you gotta try this one. This is excellent. All right, so until next time, happy cooking. Bye-bye. Enjoy. Yummy. Mm.